Hi, this is Karmakar, and welcome to a fresh new episode of Foodocracy for Her. And today I've got with me from Mumbai my friend Gitika Saikia. She's Assamese or Ohomia, and I'm Bengali. But we are both in Mumbai, in this more or less in the same western suburbs, so to speak. But we are connected with Zoom. Hi, Gitika, and
Hi.
it's so good, to see you at least on screen. Before we start off, I'm just going to show people, okay, not what I had for lunch, but food which came in. Some of it was for lunch, but there's a connection. So this is Assamese, what am I saying? This is Gujarati food, largely from Som. So there's khichdi, and then there's the gatte ka sabzi, which is, of course, Rajasthani. Then there's amras, which Pinky Chandan Dixit, who was one of the first people we interviewed. I think she was the first we interviewed on Foodocracy for her. And she said amras for my wife, Kainaz, who's finished most of the bowl. And then now she's feeling very guilty about not leaving some for me. Then there's a khichdi, which I like. Is very similar to the Bengali khichdi, this masala one. Moong dal, in pudina and palak paneer and all that. Now, why am I saying this? Gitika, you have a Som connection, right? Do you want to say that before I introduce you? Your Som connection?
Yes, I think at SOAM with Pinky, I did my first vegetarian pop up. It's a vegetarian bihu pop up. So, guys, don't be surprised. Yes, because Ahomia or Assamese food too has got a lot of vegetarian food, which Kalyan is not known about, or people think we only talk vegetarian. Yes, it was in the year 2016. It was a
Yes.
new one.
Yeah, she's a lovely person. And when I was telling Pinky today that I'm going to eat this and then interview Gitika, I had the khichdi now and the curry. And unlike the Gujaratis, I don't mix it. So I have khichdi, curry. I think I got a spoon of the amras. What else did I have? I had a bit of the jawar roti, palak, moong dal. But sorry to digress. But yeah, I completely agree with Gitika. I mean, whether it's Ahomia, whether it's Bengali cuisine, Odia, there's a fair bit of Bengali vegetarian food. It's just that we like to talk more about the non-vegetarian, but it's there. Also, Gitika, when I went to Guwahati a couple of years back, and especially in Guwahati, when I was seeing the food there, and I've gone to the friends' house of two of my friends for two home cooked meals, and they did the Assamese food, which is the food from the plains. So there, I mean, some of the things which you also serve, like the aloo pitika and then the khar and all of that. There's so much vegetarian food as well. Okay, I want to show one more thing on my phone screen about Gitika, and this is from April 22nd. I'll try to see which year this is. So this was probably Gitika's first pop-up. At that time, if I remember right, she was working with one of the Mahindra companies. 2014.
Yes.
2014. Yes. So Gitika at that time was working with one of the Mahindra companies, and we'll get to her journey now, how she got into this thing. But it was one of her first pop-up things. And if you see the home chef circle, it started with pop-ups at home, and in Gitika's house we did that. Then some of the home chefs from that generation, like Gitika is one of them, sort of then diversified. They had their YouTube channels. Some of them wrote books like Ananya Banerjee. Many of them did, like Gitika was talking about Som. They have done festivals at restaurants and five stars and all of that. And then with the pandemic, there's been a new avenue of food being delivered home. But I want to tell you about those old pop-ups. So here is Gitika.
Oh,
Gitika, what are you doing here?
was
Yeah,
I
are you
trying
with
to
a
fix
microscope? Are you with a microscope? Telescope? No, the portions are very generous. You didn't need a microscope for that. So this is some of the food which she. Hey, what is this? Some of the
something?
food which she had done. This is the special Assamese. Is this brass
It is bell
thala?
metal.
Sorry, bell metal. Yes.
Yes.
So like in Bengali houses also you have kasher thala, and she'd serve the food in this. Some of the pictures are not showing. I don't know what Pitika was trying to do here in this one. So this is the aloo pitika, which
Yes.
is what in Bengal we called aloo shaddo. Then the Orias call it the bharta, Biharis call it aloo chokha with the liti chokha. Yeah, in fact, I've written, I think V. Sanvi had written an article on unity of food, where I've spoken about how many versions of. So then what is this? Okay, this is her mixing it. This is just a bit of nostalgia, which is so nice. And then Gitika had also done. This is a thali.
Yes.
See, yeah, this is a different one. This was the winter meal, which she done, and yeah, I'm going to show you some more pictures from 2014. So our friendship goes back to then, which is what, 7 years?
Yes,
Yes.
almost. Yes.
So yeah, so there was, so that was in a way my first introduction to Assamese food. Okay, there's more. I don't know if yeah. So there is so you'd steam
Steamed fish.
something in the bamboo.
Steamed fish. Steamed.
Okay, fish, steamed fish in the bamboo. This is the fish. This is what? Can you recommend? This is fish curry. This is only the tenga.
Yes.
Tenga. Yeah.
And then I had the chicken with banana stem, I guess.
All here, all
Yes.
here, all here,
Chicken
all
with
here.
banana stem.
all there. And then she made the pita.
Yes.
Yeah, and the ladu. I don't know what's it called in Assamese, or in Bengali we
Laru
say
only.
naru.
Laru.
Laru, no?
Yes.
Then this was another pita. This is yeah. This is us sitting there and chatting. Uh, this is, I think, Ria who
Via,
sort of
yes.
organized it,
Yes.
and that's all of us. And then who else was there? Yeah. So and this is me for a long time. This is my profile picture. I had a lot more hair then.
Yes.
Yes. So okay. So it's there. I mean, while we're exchanging memories, like I said, I mean, Gitika is 2013-14 is when there was this. If 2007-8 is when there was the first generation of food bloggers, so to speak. Then the first generation of home chefs, the modern generation. It's not a new concept, but the modern generation, I would say, dates to about 2013, 14, 15. And Mumbai was one of the places where it started. And Gitika was at the forefront, and she started by doing pop-ups like this at home. She was still in the corporate world. And then I remember that day in the pop-up, she also did the Bihu dance for us. Maybe she might do it today as well. and then and then she did tie-ups and festivals. She did a YouTube channel with IFN, if I remember right. Then she probably went independent, and then during the lockdown, she's doing more stuff. Somewhere down the line, she moved fully into food, and then and then she and her husband also had this adorable little boy, Iggy, who's a fellow George fan, unless he's moved on from Peppa Pig. Okay, Gitika. So I've done enough talking. I shouldn't have spoken so much in your interview, but now it's all you. So tell us a bit about your journey. Like where you grew up in Assam, right? Where in
Yes, I grew up in Assam in a very in an industrial town called Namrup, which is in Dibrugarh district, which is again in Upper Assam. There's a lot of things about Upper Assam, Lower Assam, and all. And I studied in St. Mary's till about a 10th standard, then my 12th, then I came to Cotton College, Guwahati, and then I moved to Bombay in 98.
Oh.
Yes.
So that's the same time as me. Huh? I also moved in 97, 98 to Bombay.
Oh, okay. So, and then I did my advertising and public relations course here and got into different PR agencies. I worked with various PR agencies and then finally got into the corporate. I moved to the corporate world, that is with Zycom in the year, I guess, 2005 or so, something like that. And then I was in the corporate field, worked with Big Bazaar. Then my last stint in the corporate field was with Tech Mahindra Business Services.
Yes, I remember that.
Yes. And after that, I took this leap to get into my, passion, that is cooking, bringing an identity for the Northeastern cuisine. And I think the rest is just history.
No, it is. And I must say that for many of us, our introduction to Assamese food, which has been the first introduction to Northeast, because unlike in Delhi, we don't really have any restaurants of either Assamese or Northeast, has been through Gitika. I mean, then there have been a few others which have come in, like, for example, Joey and Priyangi who run Botenga, but very few. And I think that you also played a big role in being an ambassador for Assamese food by taking part in festivals through the channels and everything. But so when did this interest in cooking start? I won't ask you when did your interest in food start, but when did the interest in cooking start?
I was a bad cook, to be honest. When I was growing.
Somehow all success stories start like that. Huh? I was a bad cook. I didn't know how to cook, but it's good. It's enabling,
So I have
encouraging.
an elder sister. She used to cook very good. I mean, she used to
Yeah.
cook good, or at least palatable, you can say. I was a bad cook. I used to, I used to put water to cook something, and then it will burn, and all those things happen fiasco. But finally, I think
How
only
old were you then?
uh,
You're talking of what age? When
I
you
would
would.
be like what 10 years, 11
Oh,
years.
that is no. In 10 years, no one is expected to cook.
No,
10 years is time to
first,
study.
no, I first fried did a fried egg when I was in standard second.
Oh, okay.
I stood up in a tool that murha, and then
Moda.
of course I don't know how it was the egg was, I don't remember also, but I can see visualize myself in that position till now.
I
Anyways,
hope someone was holding you or
no, no,
keeping
no,
an
no,
eye on you in the kitchen.
no one, no one. My mom was.
People don't do this unsupervised. Huh? If you're in class 2, don't
Yes.
fry eggs unsupervised.
So no, but my mom was in the kitchen. The thing
Ah,
is, I didn't want to have that same milk and rice before going to school. I said, enough of it, Mama. Just give me a fried egg. She said, "Are you sure? Okay, fine. Yeah, let me just see." Then she gave.
yeah.
She was. I mean, she was nearby only. That's otherwise I would have fled from the scene.
Yeah.
Anyways, then I guess when I went to hostel, our hostel food was, everyone knows, it's like horrible,
This
horrible.
is also Bombay. Hostel is Bombay.
No, no, in Cotton College.
Cotton College, Guwahati. Yes.
So where we'll have noodles, turmeric wala, haldi wala, chow mein. But we still used to cook in the room. I think that's when little by little interest developed for cooking. But I used to never get into hardcore cooking. But only
Hmm.
after I got married, it is my mother-in-law. I used to see how she cooks only village food, only rustic food. So whenever I used to visit her, she used to feed me with like, and she started, passing down many cuisines, or sorry, many dishes which I was unaware of.
And where did she live?
She lived in Tejpur. That's my in-laws'
Tejpur.
place. Yeah,
So,
and
Gitika, sorry to interject, but a lot of people don't know much about Assam. I'm also in the learning process, but my understanding is that there's a lot of diversity in Assam. So there are the people in the plains,
yes,
and then there are the various tribal cultures, and there's a
yes,
very rich tribal culture. In fact, Assam is also a state which has been put together from I mean, the whole of Northeast earlier was one. So, if I understand that, Gitika, you and your husband belong to two different tribal sites.
yes. I belong to
Yes,
the Sunual Kosari tribe, and he belonged to the Bodo tribe.
the
In
Bodo
spite
tribe.
of being belonging to tribal communities, our food is widely, there's a huge difference.
And why is that? Is it because it depends on the local availability, flora and
Yes,
fauna?
yes, yes, a lot, because we are in Upper Assam. For
Hmm.
example, we do not. When I got married, she fed me jute leaves. The jute
Ah,
leaves is completely. It was like a foreign thing to me. I mean, like, what is
yeah.
jute leaves? She said, yes, please eat jute leaves. Then moringa leaves. We never eat moringa leaves, jute leaves. Then moringa flowers. That was
Ah.
yeah. Those
So
are the
she was feeding you all superfoods. Huh? Nowadays,
yes,
what
yes.
we know as superfoods, your mother-in-law, she must have been very fond of you because she was
I
feeding you all the
know.
good stuff.
That was in 2005. And she used to feed me a lot of other things which my mom never fed me. So I used to tell my mom, see what I'm fed, you don't know anything. So,
But when I went to Guwahati, I was invited to attend the Spring Festival,
yes,
and
yes.
which was at the Manas Resort, which I think is in the lower. Uh,
Central.
s-
It's in the central
yeah,
Assam. Almost
yeah,
central.
because the Kaziranga is on the up and Manas
Yes,
was below, if I remember right. And
yes.
over there, it was the Bodo tribes who were, the forest guards, and their wives were the people doing the cooking. So I remember, when I had some of their dishes, and I came back and I told you that, a lot of what I had there reminded me of
True.
your cooking, with the use of bamboo shoots or very, very little oil and spice, depending on the greens for the flavors, or like the pork and all of that. And again, then they don't have that in the plains. So much diversity.
Yes, yes. Lot of, I think after that, then of course I was by that, when I was learning all these things, then I had I mean, by the time I was working, I mean, I was already in the corporate field. Then suddenly I decided is that I started doing small pop-ups, like, IFN doing a show. Then I thought, I think this is not done. You can't have 2 feet in at the same time on
Yes,
two different.
yes,
I have
yes,
to quit something. And that's when by August 2014, I was done with corporate life and, continued to do cooking or, a passion for food as full time. Yeah,
yes.
that's how
And
it's.
it must have taken a lot of courage because at that point, that is more or less, I remember because that's also more or less the point when I moved into full-time food writing and whatever you'd call it, versus being in market research in the corporate world. And at that time, opportunities were not very clear
Yes.
that how to progress as a home chef, how to progress as a food writer. So, what sort of gave you the courage to take over or to make the to switch over?
I think the courage here is that I uh, I think for me it was like there is a huge this entire cuisine that needs to get a personality, and there's too much of knowledge being fed by my mother-in-law. I think both, knowledge and passion coming together without even thinking what is, I mean. I mean, that's when my first 3 consecutive pop-ups, I had only 3 people. So how
No, no,
crazy
but
is that?
no, but credit to you for sticking on because I remember like that was also the time when I moved out. I used to do food walks, and there were times when I had 7 people, 8 people, which is what I was looking for because I used to do focus groups, so 6 to 8 people, and I would price also accordingly. But there were times when there would be only 1 or 2 people. So then my wife would tell me that you should go and do it as if you had full house because those
Yes,
2 people have come in with full expectation. I
yes,
think that I remember when I went to your papa, it was 3 of us, me
yes.
and this other couple. So I think that is where what you said, no, that this passion to talk about Assamese food, I'm sure that is what kept you going
I guess so. Yes, yes.
in a
Because
in a in a
initially
way.
I had a lot of wastage because my food used to be flown down from Assam and have like only 3 people. Then you can imagine. So I thought it is not a good time to think about profits and loss. How much profit will I make? And I guess as you said that made me keep moving and doing different.
Because your journey is 7 years. So I'm saying April 22nd, 21st is when we had gone for the pop up. I don't know if I
Yes.
wrote on the same day. And now we are in May 21. So you've crossed 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I remember right, your son was not born then. Your son is younger.
Yeah, son is just born in 2016. So yeah.
Yes. So is it right to say that most of the cooking which you learned is through your mom-in-law?
Lot of them.
Because you also expanded, right? Because I've seen recently you've done things like Eid menu. So, for example, in Assam, there's a significant Muslim population,
Yeah.
and I'm guessing that their Eid food would be different from the Muhammad Ali Road of Mumbai or Zakaria Street of Kolkata. So did you sort of reach out to other people, communities? How did you learn that?
Yes, so this Eid menu is specially dedicated to Mira Pehi. When in Upper Assam, where we used to live in Namrup, it's a very cosmo industrial town, and we have
Yes.
access to people from Punjab, from Tamil, from Kerala, and then we have the Assamese Muslim community who are like best friends. My father's friend is an Assamese Muslim. He belongs to that community. Their family, his sister introduced us to pulao.
Oh,
Pulao for the first time got cooked in our kitchens by her.
okay.
So I mean, so that's why I do a menu only for in the memory of Mira Pehi. I mean, she's nowhere, she's not there anymore. But it's something I in her memory dedicated.
But this is such a lovely tribute, and this is a time where it's a very unfortunate time because there's so much loss and pain of loved ones, and it's not easy to get over that, in this thing. But I'm saying that after a while, life has to move on, and
Yes.
this is such a lovely way of sort of remembering and giving a tribute to the memories of one's loved ones. So, Gitika, your training when you came to Mumbai, your education was advertising PR. Your initial work was that before you moved into corporate. So, any of that learning came to use as you moved into becoming a home chef?
Yes, I guess the marketing bit definitely helped me. Initially, probably I was as a marketer, I was a little, I was a little, what you can say, over expecting out of things. I will create a jackpot, I will hit the jackpot in my first pop-up itself. And suddenly I started thinking, hey, Gitika, what's wrong with you? You are a marketing person. You cannot market your own events. Something is wrong with you. Then I started, looking, probably over expectations and all, which is just not happening. I have to go down to the grassroots level. Then I started doing things a little differently, like educating people. It's like every pop-up is more like knowledge sharing than
No, that's true. Yes,
so
yes.
that's when I started walking a little more backward. I mean, yeah, I started going back and what could and how to bring about a change and all those things started. And that's when I thought, I still believe is that the pop-up started, taking off. People started more and more taking interest because they get to know about a new cuisine. It's very difficult to go all of a sudden to the northeast when some and it's always better to experience something beforehand than to go there because you know the expectations when you reach a particular state.
Yeah, no, that's true. Because by the time I finally went to Assam through your pop-ups, also in Bangalore, I'd gone to this restaurant Nahomi, then Kashmir Nuts
Yes.
Festival at the BKC. So, by the time I went to Guwahati, you know, you want, yeah, Iggy.
The line was broken. I was trying to hit the wall. Sorry.
Okay, we started recording again, and it's the joys of recording from home. Poor Gitika's feeling very embarrassed. She hasn't seen the number of times Baby Loaf and Little Nimki have come into her. I'm seeing Iggy after almost 2 years. He's grown up so much.
Yes.
And for people who are wondering, Nimki's in the other room. And Loaf, when the door was opened, he just ran off. He didn't realize. But he's gone to his Erika mummy's house and spending the summer afternoon there. So that's the joy of this thing. So we were talking of the way you were creating the stories around the pop-ups. And how did you see your audience, people who are coming to the pop-ups, react to that? Because it's an unfamiliar cuisine, and also within that, the sort of food which you presented was more weighted towards the tribal cuisine because that's
Yes.
your core area. In fact, I remember the first time when I tweeted about it, and you probably remember Naomi Dutt, who's an Assamese from Mumbai and grown up there. She said that this is not Assamese food, and there was pork and silkworm and this that. So I
Yeah.
was like, Gitika, I just got trolled on Twitter by someone whom I know, and she's saying this is not Assamese food now. I mean, what do I do? But then I realized that people who live in Guwahati, they refer to themselves as Assamese,
Yes.
and then there is Bodo and Mishing and all the tribes. So, for example, there's also another friend whom I've interviewed doing Bihu, Sanjukta Dutt. So she was also saying that in the plains we don't have that much pork traditionally. So that they're very multifaceted. But the food, the taste, the black sesame, then the use of bamboo shoot, all of that is a bit alien to the palate. So how did you find your audience responding? Did they come there with that mindset which was open to experiment, or what was your?
So I think there also, it. I mean, when I was curating the menu initially, I had no experience, as you know. Uh, my first ones probably, what is that? It had bamboo shoot in it, concentrated form. I would say. Let me just use the word concentrated instead of diluted. Then I started realizing from my pop-ups that not everyone is fond of fermented food in it concentrated form. I started diluting it, probably making it a little more palatable to the Bombay, taste buds and all. because it was neat. That was needed because some people enjoyed it, they loved it, they talked about it. Because I was talking about I was sharing I was introducing the rural or a tribal cuisine, and a lot of them already, or who said is that, yes, I love the food on my face, but I think going back, they would have just, unfriended me.
Hey, ma, why unfriend someone? Or don't friend someone. First of all, if you have a professional association with someone, follow their page. Huh? Don't send a friend request on the personal page. Just follow them. If your interaction is professional, like if you know a chef or if you know a home chef or a writer, just follow the page.
Okay, that's a learning. That's a huge
Katti mat karo. Don't do katti. Is this right? I don't know. Adi.
But yes, I also
No, but
learned.
that's true. I remember I was also telling you. See, for example, in Thailand, they always sort of tone down the chili levels in a tom yum soup because they know a foreigner can't handle that. And if you remember, there was this home chef festival of FBI at Taj Lands End, and they had selected the top home chefs at that time to put a couple of dishes each, and you had,
Yes, yes,
and I think you'd done a black sesame rohu.
yes,
So which I went and told you, like, away from this thing, that I just felt that for a mass audience, which that one
yes.
was, it was very strong. Like, the smell was dominating. Honestly, I enjoyed it, but I also told you that that audience was not everyone who's looking at, Assamese food or this thing, because they were, there was a general janta. So I
True.
think that's also part of the learning, right?
Yes,
What
yes.
other learnings have you had, Gitika? What are the
Uh,
other learnings here? We can always talk about the successes, but tell me about the learnings.
yeah. In other learnings is that I thought that, I never expected. I never weighed people's, palate to be like, 500 grams, 700 grams. I
Ah.
used to think that people eat like 1 kg of food. So the amount of food I used to get flown down from Assam, which eventually landed into the dustbin.
Yeah, that's something.
It really hurt me a lot.
Iggy!
I
Iggy,
am.
my friend. I last met him when we were having that lunch at Sifa and we were watching. Okay, we'll take a little break. Okay, we are back from our break.
Okay, I
We
heard
are,
you.
we
I
are
heard
back from our break,
you.
and we are
Sorry.
not we are not sorry for the interruption because Iggy had a lot to say. In fact, I must say even my cats, they have a lot to say when they come in. Yes. So other learning, you were talking about the portioning, because as
Yeah.
home cooks, yeah, we never know because we always cook so much, like guests should not go hungry.
And we cook out of passion and emotion.
Yes.
We don't know how to calculate
Yes.
portions, and that's when I learned that this is not how people. And I also have to consider how much liquid a person is drinking. And if the person is having fed bhut jalakia, a person will be drinking more. So the tummy shrugs. So yes, I learned about portioning also. It was necessary because initially I had a lot of losses in terms of food items. In the sense, people do not eat so much, and especially with
Yeah.
people in Bombay, they do not eat so much
Yes.
compared
No,
to.
that's true. No, that's true. And also, it's a hot. See, also it's a hot climate, so some of the food might not be that amenable in a Bombay weather.
Yes.
Of course, you had seasonal menus. You would do different food but the Assam winter, Assam high summer is Bombay winter. So,
Yes. People there had a huge appetite compared to
hmm.
people in
No,
the.
also because in rural life you're far more active.
Yes,
No,
yes.
and now also see in Bombay we have all this thing: no grain, no gluten, no joy, no taste. So no, but no, it's true. But even like I'm in my mid to sort of second half of mid 40s, I can't eat that much food.
Yes, yes.
So now you've referred to this part 2 or 3 times of food being flown in from Assam. So I remember you would also tell me that there were these parcels which would come by train and people had to pick it up from the Mumbai Kalina campus. So tell us a bit about that. That what are the sort of ingredients which you'd have to call in? I think a lot of ingredients were called in, right?
A lot
So
of
how?
because as you said, it's a seasonal menu, which is what I mostly focus on. So there'll be like fiddle headphones, smoked pork, lai hak, then sometimes sticky
I
rice.
hark as the mustard greens, no?
Yes, mustard greens. That's the broad
Hmm.
mustard greens. Then you have Chinese mellow. We call it lofa in Assam. Then we also have sticky rice. Then the new glutinous rice when it's a new harvest meal. So lot of items just be flown down through Blue Dart. Mostly Blue Dart. I think Blue Dart would have become rich in my state.
We should get Luta to sponsor this.
They don't. Anyways, but yes, only during this pandemic. Uh, Otherwise, I used to get 2 consignments every month. Only this pandemic has been a little tough on every one of us because I couldn't get the food which used to take earlier 3 days now takes 6 days of working hours, which means I cannot fly down perishable commodities,
Yes, yes, yes.
which is why my current home delivery menus are solely dependent on what food I or what vegetable I get it in the local market.
Which in a way is not a bad thing because I think the pandemic has also taught us to eat local. And a great example of this is the Chinese community. The Chinese community across the world, whether it's US, England, Australia, India. A big part of them was shoe dentistry parlors and restaurants. But what they would start doing is they would adapting using the local ingredients for their dishes. So, for example, seafood would be pomfret, or they would use chicken, or they would use local greens. So I think that there was a great learning there because also with the carbon footprint and all of that. Now, Gitika, your career, so to speak, has seen all the phases so far which home chefs have gone through.
Yes.
In a way, I mean, since you all come from that vintage, like even as a writer, I've seen all the stages of. I've not been on TikTok and Snapchat, but most of the other. So I want to ask you a bit about the pros and cons of each. Now, would you say, and knowing you as being the sort of people's person that you are, would you say that for you, like the home pop-up was the ultimate form because you would get to sort of interact with your guests and all that? Is that your favorite form when you were doing home pop-ups?
Yes, yes. Basically, when I would say pop-ups, I would mean sit-down pop-ups, be it at home
Yes,
or in a restaurant where I later on moved out
yes.
from
Uh,
Stand myself. Because in a home, in Bombay home, especially as you know, we can't entertain more than 8 people.
and also, people don't travel. People don't like to travel in Bombay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm doing it in a central or in a restaurant, in a popular restaurant like I did in a Bombay canteen or so, or out of the blue,
You did in Bombay canteen also?
yes, that was
Okay.
17 or so. I'm not too sure about the dates.
Yeah, I think I remember. Yes, yes.
Yes, I think 2017. And yeah, and Bombay Canteen, they're very centrally located. People don't mind traveling to that particular locality. And in when you're doing it in a restaurant or a five-star hotel, what you have the expertise. So when you're catering to a huge audience, and you are actually preparing a lot of food, you need a lot of expertise. For example, someone is doing the preps for you, which is actually a very good association. That's the reason even today I prefer doing it in a restaurant or or a five-star hotel or a sit-down meal somewhere else instead of at a home. And with my kid now, I don't see any. I don't see myself doing any pop-ups in the near future.
Ade, tell me about it. So this, I was showing you that Som food. Let me see if I sort of, there were a lot of dishes. So I laid it all on the floor to go table chalk. So Baby Loaf was in the hall, but little Nimki, he was dashing around. My only savior was that it was all vegetarian. If it was fish, he would have gone straight for it. So tell me about sometimes when we are shooting and all that. I remember when I shot with your food when you sent it, it was like he was jumping all over. I think as a customer, the other beauty of like if it's a facility like a restaurant or a hotel is that the certain comfort which comes with it, which is the seating,
Yes,
the temperature, the toilets,
true,
all
true.
of that is there. I guess each have their pros and cons. I mean, there are people who would like to sort of in a more intimate setting, and I think there it's more informal. It's but there again, if I take a learning from my food walks, like my food walks would be taking people to the smaller gullies or street food or older places. So and a lot of foreigners or top professionals in India would come. But you had to have that mindset.
Yes,
If you are more the Starbucks Bombay canteen mindset, and I'm then you would want that sort of facility. Then you won't go to a Fort Yazdani, or you won't, which,
true.
yeah. So I guess, but now if I look at the other phase which has happened now, which honestly I feel, I think people like you through the pop-ups started the home chef movement, but where it became a mass movement was after the first lockdown and with home chefs delivering home.
Yes.
And so therefore, what happens is that you're sitting at home, you're cooking, and now thanks to VFast, Dunzo, Swiggy, Genie, whatever, you're sending across the city. So then I don't have any more issues of whether I'll have to travel to which part of Bombay, whether it's floor seating, this thing, how much is the traffic, is a Western toilet, Indian toilet, and all of that. So, but that personal touch is lost. So,
Personal touch.
what is your take on this phase? Because you've also now embraced this phase as well.
Yeah.
So, what are your learnings?
See, definitely, as you said, the pros I will go with you, and the cons is something we have to design or curate our menu in such a way that it is not too elaborate. We cannot have too much of fresh salad or something, because
Yes.
the leaves will not stay fresh. And
Yeah.
it's a very compressed menu. Also, many things like fried items, we cannot give any fried items.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
They go soft.
become very soft. And then gravy items, we have to ensure that we cannot give soup, because our for example, I stay in Juhu. If my order is going all the way to Navi Mumbai, I have to ensure that I can't have any soupy items. It'll just, no matter how
Hmm.
much ever I pack it, it's going to leak. So yes, these are a few negatives that are there, but on the whole, I would say the customers are happy, because
Yes.
they don't have to travel all the way from Navi Mumbai or Thane, as you said, or from Mira.
Yes. Or Bandra.
Yeah.
I'm a notoriously bad traveler. I mean, when I'm traveling, like when I go to Guwahati, then I go all over Guwahati to, I'll go to Chinese Hut for the momos. I'll go to Missing Kitchen for the missing food. I'll go to Paradise for the this thing. I'll go to that 6 Mile Road or whatever for the lal cha and pita, boiled pita or whatever. But in Mumbai, I'm not leaving my suburb.
Here, even I don't like to travel.
Okay, now I want to ask you something in the context of this Home Chefies awards program which we're doing, which
Yeah.
was primarily to sort of make home chefs realize the fact that if they want the business to grow, they
Yes.
need to think of themselves as brands and therefore build a brand, because later at some point there might be 15 SMEs, home chefs, whatever, and then there might be 25 northeastern. So then it is the brand pull plus the product which will sort of pull you through. So you have the double advantage of also having worked in PR and marketing. So how I'm going to first ask you generally,
Yeah.
then we'll go into this delivery format. How can a home chef build their brand? And also, see, home chef is different from a restaurant, because in a restaurant, say, you're talking of Bombay Canteen. So there's Thomas Zacharias, now Chef Hussein. So they have their own personalities, but there's also Bombay Canteen. There's also the late Floyd Cardo. So similarly, if you're with Dampok, there's the ITC Hotel, there's Dampok, then Mohammed Sharif. But the home chef is a bit like the freelance writer. You are your own brand. Your work is, so how do you build your brand?
So I think for be it a home chef or like a restaurant or like a big brand, the home chef has to understand that she or he represents the brand, so has to be professional. So the first thing is that professionalism comes. Uh,
Okay, our prodigal son, baby love,
Wow!
is here. My Guchu, my baby.
Thank God Iggy is not here. He's pestering me for a kitty.
And there is a little one, little Nimki. Little Nimki is going to turn 1 year old on Saturday, which might be the day before we actually broadcast. Little Nimki. So Baby Loaf had gone down, so our friends have got him up. His Erika Mummy and sister Gia. So this is the joys of working from home. But Iggy's going to see this later, huh? And Iggy must have his own kitty as well one day.
Oh, he's pestering me already. He wants a kitty or a lion. I said,
Achha, listen, if you want kitties, please let me know, because I often know. So our friend Jasleen, for example, Namak Swad Anusar. So I think I've got cat hair in my mouth. So, Jasleen was looking at sort of adopting a kitty, and
okay.
at that time there was our same friend Jia who got sorry, the cat hair in my mouth. So Jasleen was looking at having a kitty, and the same friend Jia who got low farb, she used to see this little kitten in Carter Road, and where the rats are there in the little thing, and she would feed them and put up pictures and send it to us also. So when I heard Jasleen was looking for it, for a kitty, and there were some couple of other friends who was also feeding that little kitten, so I sort of connected them, and now Jasleen is a home chef with a kitty of her own. So Sherry Mehta, Sherry of Kanak also has two cats. So who knows? Maybe breaking news soon on Gitika's pug haul, right? Okay, I've completely forgotten what we were talking about, but I think we were talking about marketing and home chef brands and being professional. I don't know, coming with cats, how much of a professional interviewer it makes me, but go on.
Yes, as I said, home chefs have to consider themselves or do business very professionally. Uh, because for example, if I have an order coming and I have committed to a client, come what may, the order has to be delivered. We can't, unless there is like a very serious emergency in
Yes,
the,
of course, of course.
but and we have to be punctual. If we're saying lunch, it has to be lunch. If we're saying dinner, it has to be go on dinner. And the packaging and all, everything the entire packaging matters. Secondly, is that we have to also calculate profit and loss. Yes, initially we start off with, but finally we have to go to profit loss, making it like a profitable institution. For example, as I said, I made a lot of losses. I didn't know about stock taking,
Hmm.
inventories, and all those things. And thirdly, what I would say is that we have to keep changing. We have to innovative ourselves. We have to keep
Yes.
changing, give different things to our customer. We cannot be complacent. Is what I think.
That those are really wise words. And in fact, your last point reminded me of what a young friend of mine, a home chef, asked me the other day. She's also featured on Foodocracy for her. So she suddenly sent me this message saying, "What do I do when people copy my menu? What do you do in cases like that?" And then she said that, "Sorry, I'm just venting." So I said, "Well, you just forge ahead. People will sort of. Now you can't even say copy. Let me give you an example from your field only. Now, say you did the aloo pitika, right, which is a very basic dish. Now, not basic, but it's a very important dish of the Odia cuisine. What am I saying? Assamese cuisine. I should have more coffee. This was decaf. But when I went to Otenga and had the meal there was aloo pitika.
Yes.
When I went to Priyanjali's house in Guwahati, there was aloo pitika. So I don't know. I mean, I think we should just see. Okay, we've done this meal, or I've written this article. Now, what am I going to do next? Like wondering about, like you said, keep thinking how to go ahead. I think
Yes.
that's why you're so successful. I mean, yes.
Thank you so much.
And so professionalism you spoke about profitability, you spoke about innovation. Um, a lot of people also feel, and I think maybe they didn't come to you straight this thing, is uniqueness, right? About building a brand, like doesn't uniqueness become an important factor
Yes.
when you're creating? So how did you define your brand?
Uh,
Like in what makes you distinct? What makes Gitika distinct?
So I think because I do both cuisines, that is mainland and tribal. I think we have a lot of people now in the market who are doing a lot of cuisines, but I think no one has kind of done too much of the tribal cuisine. For example, getting silkworm, ridden eggs, fiddlehead fawn. Those are the few kind of things which I would say in terms of bringing different things. For example, or I guess I'm not boasting myself.
No,
Uh,
you're not.
yeah, it's just that bringing unusual things like or unusual vegetables. I have never thought that what would be the person's reaction. Yes, I will not give something like extremely opposite, but things like fun and all, it's going to be slimy, it's going to be a slimy taste and all. But I think I've never shied away from presenting something, a new vegetable or a new dish or something. For example, when I did the akhoni, we also eat fermented soybeans in tribals. But I think I didn't think too much when I thought, let me just introduce akhuni, and then thinking people will just do no.
No, in fact, whenever you and I discuss and say if I order something from you, I tell you, remember, Gitika, bamboo shoot
Yes.
is one thing. I'm not fermented bamboo shoot. I like blue cheese. I've had durian twice in Penang, in Bangkok. I love fish sauce. Sometimes, like for example, bamboo shoot fermented, I don't like that much. I can't handle
True.
chili. So it's important to know your audience. You were talking that about not boasting. There's not boasting. In fact, I must say that there's another very strong point about you, which I'm saying as an external person, but sometimes we don't realize it about ourselves, that apart from being a very good cook, you're also a very good storyteller.
I
And I remember Anil Vishwanathan as part of the Home Chef interviews which you're doing. He's the marketing head
yeah.
of Mondelez and Cadbury. He said that a brand's ability to tell a story is so important, you know, because there'll be chocolates and chocolates, but what is the story? So I think that also becomes important, which then brings me to a place where, in a situation where right now everything is going as deliveries, right? So there is no face-to-face interaction with your customers. It's all either through social media, WhatsApp, or phone calls, and then your food. So in times like this, how are you still keeping the Gitika personality spirit ahead and translating it in these times?
I have started doing a little bit of videos, now.
Yes, yes, yes.
They are very immature now, amateurish, you can say, and not very editing. So I thought, I'm only doing delivery menus. People do not know me, or
Yeah,
new customers or new of my clients don't know me
no,
personally.
that is true also.
They
For
haven't.
everyone, they're famous food writers, like really famous ones. Sometimes the new generation doesn't know about it because,
Yes.
yeah. So how do you keep yourself contemporary?
Yeah, so I have kind of started doing reels, then small food videos is what I am like. I'm concentrating on them, on those things also now.
Okay, while I'm listening to you, let me try to open your Insta page also. So then I'll show it. Go ahead. Then
Yeah.
what else are you doing?
So those things I do, and then sometimes yeah, basically these two things that the situation
Yeah.
demands, I would say nowadays.
So this is Gitika's page,
Yes.
and yeah. So let me see. This is the reels which she's doing.
Yeah. I do follow my rule. I started
Okay,
doing.
this is bottle masala. Let me try. Uh, okay, something to do with bihu, and she used to always give us these hats. Yeah, but these are all different ways. Oh, so Gitika is dancing for us. Yes, and she used to give us these little hats when we'd go to her house. But yeah, I mean, these are different ways of engaging. Then, I don't know that Gitika used to do proper YouTube shoots and all that. Even things like this. I've done proper shoots with her when I was in IFN. But in this new age, we are making advantage of things like Zoom and all that. So
Yes.
let's see. This is where Gitika is teaching us how to make gila pitha, and she's
Yes.
dancing again. I'm thinking maybe at some point she'll cook also, or is it only by dancing that the pitha will happen? But yeah, so she's showing the sari and her kitchen, and some of these you're now doing in Ohmiya also, no? The language I've seen.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Just
So
because this was done during the Rongali Bihu, so I thought,
uh,
Ohomia, that connect builds more, It's like I cannot use Rongali Bihu if I do not speak in the local language.
yeah, so these are different ways I think where home chefs can sort of build their identity and also like I said, I mean Gitika's a people's person. She loves to dance, which I think everyone in Assam does. She was the way of leaving. What about like your direct customers? So this is building your brand, and then there are the people who are actually like ordering from you, either through your fortnightly menus, or like you also do customized. Like I think tomorrow you're doing a customized menu. So what steps do you take to ensure that you sort of build a relationship with them, professional relationship?
The moment I sense in or through my WhatsApp that the client is new, is new to me, or new as a customer, or new to the cuisine, I pick up the
Ah,
phone, explain it to them, and I do not try to sell. So I tell
ah,
them the facts. If it has bamboo shoot, I ask them, "Do you really like bamboo shoot?" Or if there is bhut jolokia, I double question them. Are you sure you
yes, yes, yes.
do not like it? I would suggest do not go for this menu. You might a different menu might come again next time. Please go for that.
So you're actually turning away sales. You're
Yes,
actually
yes.
earning. And do they come back?
They've come back because then
Wow.
then uh, they start to keep a track on my Gitika Spargor handle, my Insta,
Yes.
and they come back.
Yes.
Some of them came back saying that no, okay, good. I don't like bamboo shoot. I don't like akhoni. Let me come back to you. When you're doing a next. And many people have come back.
Huh. This is a no. So
Yes.
that's lovely, huh? That's so. Actually, there have been cases where she's telling customers that don't place your order, and that way then they're actually coming back. So imagine that she's actually selling by telling people not to buy. But jokes apart, I think to me, like for example, that's the sort of person I would trust. My fish wali Poonam. Like today, I wanted to buy pomfret from her, but she said that rohu, katla, आर माछ अच्छी है मगर अच्छा है मगर pomfret बर्फ का है. So and she was indicating that today don't buy. So and pomfret,
Yes.
as you know, is the most expensive fish in Bombay, so she would have made a lot of money. But which is why I've been buying fish for so many years. So I love that. But isn't it cumbersome to sort of connect with so many people, or you feel it's worth the effort? You feel
It's
it's
what
worth the effort?
since it is my passion, I think I don't see it now more as like an effort. I think I
Oh,
enjoy because that
how
uh,
lovely.
face to face touch is not there. I think this is the only
Yeah.
way we can be, have that personal touch with our customers, with
So
people.
Gitika, I want to ask you something now that 7 years down the line and maybe a year of planning before that, you are one of the more senior people in a
Huh?
fairly nascent industry. So have there been instances? I mean, you might want to share by name or even otherwise of people sort of helping you out. But I just want to see that is it a very competitive industry or are people there for each other? Like I know we were talking earlier of Som and Bombay Canteen and all these people. So but have you had instances of people trying to help you out?
Yes, yes. There have
I
been
would
a
love to hear that.
Yes, there's been a lot of people. As I know, I think you were the first one to write. I have to say thank you, Kalyan. No. Your blog is the first blog that wrote about Homia cuisine. Then there's a lot of friends from the media who have understood. Then I think, yeah. Then there are friends from, I mean, the home chef groups. So many other home chefs are done. Like I still have Ria and Madhumita as my punching bags. I'm frustrated. Ria, Madhumita, help me. I'm in loss of words. Or, yeah, no. And there actually then Thomas. When I first, I mean,
Thomas Zacharias.
yeah, Thomas Zakaria, Chef Thomas Zakaria. I just pinged to him and saying, "Hey Thomas, would you be interested after seeing he doing a Bengali or some other pop up the first time?"
Yeah, they did Odia, Bengali,
Why
and all that.
not?
Yeah.
So there are a lot of you. Then you have
So he,
Chef.
so he, so Thomas actually said, "Yeah, come on and let's do it together."
Yes.
Oh, wow! And Bombay Canteens by then such a big name.
Yeah, I just wrote to him one day, seeing one pop up, regional pop up. Oh yeah, peasants
Ah,
pop. Peasants.
Parsin, the Parsi one, yes.
Something, and I just wrote to Thomas saying, that, Thomas, can we do something about Assamese? He said, yeah, looks interesting. Why don't we discuss?
Yeah, and it's actually tough for restaurants to do pop-ups because they have their regular routine, so they have to work much hard, and
Yes,
that to an unknown person. So
yes.
wow,
yeah, you'd not forget them. Then, of course, then I must mention about this lady from New York. When I went to New York on a vacation, US on a vacation, especially New York side, the East Coast. So I don't know what went to my mind. I had to do a pop up there. I don't know anyone. Suddenly, I wrote to many people on Twitter, random people, no one answered. Then I followed a lady. I think during that time, one lady called Anisha. Anisha followed my Insta page. I saw she's from New York. I just wrote to her, Anisha, would you be interested? And she turned out to be a chef.
Ah,
And she said, why don't you do it at my restaurant, 40-seater, or at my home, 9-seater? Because again, New York homes, small homes like Bombay, to
yes,
compare.
yes. New York, Tokyo, Bombay.
Yeah, then I was happy beyond. I mean, I couldn't understand what could I do. I said, yes, we must do. I said, no, I will not do it in a restaurant because I cannot carry so many things from here with travel restrictions and all. And that made me travel the entire night from Virginia to New York to do that. Whole night we drove to do a pop-up at her place.
So you
I
fed
must,
the Americans Assamese pure food.
yes, yes.
Wow. Do you remember what the menu was or what they liked more or something?
We had black rice kheer, aloo pitika. Then we had chicken with a hint of bamboo shoot. All this carried
So,
from home, and then from here. And then I carried Johar rice. I was so lucky. I mean, to have gone through, got the green signal in the in the airports and all. That's a really good thing. I think luck was on my part. And then I had a mixed veg. Then I had khar, bottle gourd khar. So
the alkaline, yes.
yeah, the alkaline. So a full Assamese menu, both tribal and mainland Assamese, was presented to people who had come to. There was a
Wow, how did I not know about this? Maybe I missed it. I'm sure you must have talked. But sometimes because of algorithms and all that,
I didn't.
maybe.
I don't talk much about this pop up.
I don't think you had much.
Yes,
Yes, but there's something so to be proud of. Was this in Obama's time or Trump's time? I don't
Obama.
remember. Obama. So take it. At least.
I felt so bad. There was a wait list. There was wait list of 10 people. We
How
could
many
have
people?
10 people.
10 people. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was double the capacity.
yes, we could accommodate only 9 people in the pop
Wow.
up. But yes,
Wow.
I must say thanks to
Miracle. Sorry. Yes.
that's
Sorry.
something I enjoyed.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. Okay, so New York taka to ho gaya, but for now it's Mumbai. And the interesting thing about Mumbai or any city is that, I mean, you can sit here and order for yourself, or you can be anywhere in the world and order for your friends and loved ones. So Gitika, what are you doing now, and how do people place orders with you? So
Uh,
you're doing every fortnight, like is it
every
weekend?
fortnight. All they have to do is to follow my Insta handle, Gitika's Paghor. They'll come to
Ha,
know everything that I'm doing in the food
ha.
sector.
And and you do weekend stuff.
Yes.
And you also sometimes do customized menus. I'm guessing that would be
Yes.
larger quantities and stuff like that. And what about little Iggy? Does he want to become a chef or a rocket scientist, or what does he want to become? Any or a footballer or a
Only busy with
astronaut?
blocks,
Blocks.
tiles, Lego blocks.
Okay, I just sent my niece some Lego blocks on her
Will
birthday. So lovely speaking to you, Gitika. It was fabulous as always. I don't know when we'll actually meet in person, but it was such a pleasure and honor to bring across the story of a friend to the audience. I mean, every Foodocracy for episode I really love because I learned so much. But when it's an opportunity to bring forward the story of a friend, then it becomes that much more special. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kalyan. Bye.